what's going on everybody? This is dkdynamite, and tonight we're going to be talking about the new update in Black Ops Cold War, Treyarch somewhat breaking their silence about the mid-season updates, and even a new discovery that was found over on Echelon. Definitely stay tuned. But before we jump into that, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, and also don't forget, I'll be squatting up with every single one of you that sends me proof of using code DYNAMITE over at checkout on GamerAdvantage.com. It really means the world to me. In case you guys were also confused, the Vanguard Champion Hill Alpha officially went offline as of yesterday at about 2 p.m. Central my time. It was supposed to go offline at about 12 p.m. Central, but they kept it up for an additional 2 hours while they're running some tests, which is really kind of sledgehammer, of course. But my full thoughts and review on the Vanguard Alpha, I'll have my new video linked down below in the description. Appreciate all you guys out there that showed support on that video a few days ago. But today it was confirmed we are getting another free trial for Black Ops Cold War multiplayer and zombies this week, starting on the 2nd until September the 7th. It'll come with the following content. We have a Season 5 mosh pit featuring all the brand new maps in multiplayer, the Double Agent LTM, everyone's favorite Nuketown 24/7 mosh pit, the throwback playlist, party games, fire team mosh pit, a new gunfight tournament, face-off 6v6, and the classic TDM. While zombies fans get their hands on the new Season 5 content for Outbreak, including Collateral, and if you're on PlayStation downloading this free trial, you'll also get access to the entirety of Onslaught, which is fantastic. We're gonna get a big update to Onslaught in the next couple of weeks, or whenever Season 5 Reloaded does release, but before we continue with that information, let's go ahead and thank the sponsor of tonight's video. Now, tonight's video is sponsored by Sizzle for Streamers. You can actually use Sizzle for free thanks to the partnership we made for you guys that support the channel. Sizzle is a platform that allows you to download automatic, action-packed highlights of your Twitch and YouTube streams with ease. It works for games like Warzone, Valorant, League of Legends, Fortnite, PUBG, Apex, and even Garena Free Fire. It's currently open to both Twitch and YouTube streamers, and using Sizzle is very simple. All you have to do is create an account on sizzle.gg, link your Twitch or YouTube account, then make sure you click refresh on your stream dashboard to detect any of your recent events, and now you can select which stream you want to turn into a sizzle. It's actually funny because a couple of months ago, I was saying to my audience that there should be a way on YouTube at least for you to be able to create automatic highlights after doing a long live stream, and now that exists thanks to Sizzle. I'll definitely be using this for my longer streams. As you guys know, I go for quite some time, nearly half a day whenever there's a big event for Call of Duty. Remember, Sizzle is still in beta, but is free using the link down below in the description. Thank you to Sizzle for sponsoring tonight's video. Now back to the video. Today we got the first weekly briefing about Black Ops Cold War specifically in weeks, and I understand, right? Because of all the Vanguard marketing, they had to push back a little bit of the Cold War marketing for a little while, but I'm sure we'll start getting some more heavy Cold War marketing again leading into the final season that should be dropping at the beginning of October, which is great. But as Treyarch went ahead and said, Season 5 in Black Ops Cold War continues with new multiplayer playlists being released starting September the 2nd. Chief among them is the new Season 5 mosh pit, which features a mix of respawn modes in the latest 6v6 maps, Echelon, Slums, and Drive-In. This week's also brings a new gunfight tournament with new rewards to earn. Throwback Mosh Pit also returns, featuring remastered Black Ops classics such as Drive-In and some gunfight blueprints on top of that. So they also mentioned another double XP weekend happening later this week, September the 3rd through the 7th, which is great during the free access period as well, in case you guys out there want to level up your Activision account despite not owning Black Ops Cold War. Great nonetheless, but what's really weird about this blog post is that it doesn't at all hint at when the mid-season update actually is, which is strange because usually when we're close to a mid-season update, Treyarch will write, and I quote, "As the mid-season update approaches," or "As we get closer to season number reloaded, here's what we have in store this week." They didn't write that in today's blog post, so I'm like, wait a second, something is a little off here, and here's why. A couple of weeks ago, Raven teased upcoming playlist changes for Warzone, and one of those changes is on September the 2nd through the 8th, and it's being labeled as a question mark playlist. We all speculated it could be the numbers event. Maybe it's something entirely different or separate from Season 5 Reloaded, but it seemed like it made sense to be something related to the numbers event, which is likely going to impact Warzone quite a bit, considering Stitch's grand plan that involves sleeper agents over in Verdansk. Maybe the playlist itself has us going type of different LTM and hunting down sleeper agents, or doing something that may even lead to a cutscene. I personally feel like the next 2 to 3 cutscenes might not be enough to wrap up this game's life cycle in terms of story, so maybe they have this event in Warzone that's gonna help further the story a little bit more before the end of the game's life. That's my theory right now, so maybe they pull something where this week is a numbers event over in Warzone, then next week is gonna be the Reloaded update for multiplayer and zombies specifically. That's my theory right now, but they didn't mention that in the blog post today, so I'm wondering if it's a bit of a surprise they're gonna save for some later marketing, maybe on Wednesday. Totally unclear. But then PlayStation Size, a wonderful Twitter account, which I'll have a link down below in the description, description, they went ahead and reported a few days ago that update 1.22 was added to the database of Black Ops Cold War on PS5. And I'm like, alright, if that was added to the database on Friday or Saturday, maybe that means this week is going to be the week when we see Reloaded. But it was pointed out to me that update already went live on PS4 a little while ago, so I'm not sure what that was. But then all of a sudden, he went ahead and reported today that update 1.23 was found for PS4 today, and it is a pretty well-sized update. More than likely Season 5 Reloaded or some big DLC that we don't know about just yet. So if that popped up today, then that has to mean, as we usually see, that we're about a week away from the preload on PlayStation 4. And I'm sure as we usually do, we'll get the preload on PS5 as well, but if the update is 10 plus gigabytes, then yeah, that has to be Reloaded. So it's looking like right now, the definite release date of the mid-season update is going to be next week, September the 9th, but I'll of course be live on Wednesday the 8th with a countdown to the DLC. What's weird about that though is that a day before that, on the 7th, which is a Tuesday, we're going to end up having the full multiplayer reveal for Vanguard. So this week looks like it's going to be a little bit quiet, and the next week's going to be all hell breaking loose, right? We have a Vanguard multiplayer reveal, and then Reloaded for Cold War multiplayer zombies in Warzone about a day and a half after that. So it could have spread things out a bit. I personally said this a few days ago, which is that Reloaded seems like it would have been a bit too early if they released it this week, but this week also happens to be the only week that's quiet where there isn't any Vanguard marketing or any conflict of interest, so to speak. Activision probably doesn't care, but that means next week coming up, we're going to end up having the reveal of multiplayer on Tuesday. You know, Season 5 Reloaded Wednesday nights, or Thursday depending on where you live, and then that Friday will be the early access beta for PlayStation users who want to get their hands on Vanguard a little bit early. So a lot is happening next week. Expect plenty of streams here on the channel. It's going to be insane. But also speaking of PlayStation size, he coincidentally also reported that the public beta download for PS5 will end up being 9 gigabytes in size. And again, this will be an update to the already existing alpha application you guys have on PlayStation. You don't have to reinstall a whole new application or any of that. You just update the one you already have installed on your platform. And if you pre-order Vanguard digitally, you'll get early access to multiplayer for the weekend of September the 10th through the 13th. Only for PlayStation. Then a week later, there will be an open beta for PlayStation while early access is going on for Xbox and PC, and then a couple days after that, it'll be open for all platforms around the world, no matter where you're at, PlayStation or Xbox, even regardless of a pre-order. So hopefully that makes sense. Now another point that all but confirms Reloaded is next week is a tweet from insider The Ghost of Hope, who went ahead and tweeted, "As far as I know, mid-season 5 of Cold War and Warzone is happening on September the 7th / the 8th. In case you guys are confused about that, updates usually drop late Wednesday night, at least for me, during the Central Time Zone. Same for Pacific, but for Eastern and other regions out there, it's usually early morning on that Thursday. So hopefully that makes sense. But like I said earlier, it'll be a hell of a packed week next week with the Vanguard multiplayer reveal, then Reloaded, then the early access beta for Vanguard multiplayer on PlayStation. I signed up for this, you know, it's going to be a hell of a packed week, but happy to stay busy nonetheless with a bunch of Call of Duty coverage. For some of you guys out there, though, it may be a bit overwhelming to keep up with all Call of Duties at once. I totally understand. Hopefully you guys stick around. But looking at what's left for Season 5, as I mentioned in a previous video a couple of days ago, which is linked down below in the description, I went over everything to expect and everything we know so far about Season 5 Reloaded. And yeah, we all know there isn't much left for the season, so either we're going to end up getting a very juicy roadmap with a bunch of surprises on it that we couldn't have expected, or it's going to be a very tiny update. And when I say tiny, it's not that small. There still is good content left, but it won't have too much content in comparison to previous Reloaded updates, just to ensure that Vanguard is kept in the spotlight, since the beta for that game's multiplayer is going to be a couple of days after Season 5 Reloaded. Now, we also got some insight on 3 upcoming bundles coming to Cold War and Warzone later this week. The first one is the Dark Dispatch Maxis bundle, again zombies themed, and it'll come with the Noir skin for Samantha. Also included are 2 legendary blueprints, the Massacre Assault Rifle and the Slaughter Shotgun, as well as the Slow Decay emblem, Killer Move's finishing move. And rounding out the bundle are 3 epic level items, the Discrepant Master Calling Card, Deadshot Daiquiri, Zombies Coca-Cola Can, and the Dead Flowers sticker. We then have the Super Soldier Colton Striker Greenfield joining NATO later this week. It's going to be a Tracer pack featuring legendary blueprints, the Shuttle Blast Assault Rifle, and the Solid Effort Shotgun, both featuring Red Tracer Fire. I always want to call him John Cena because he kind of resembles him in the intro cinematic cutscene for Season 5, as you guys can see. We then have the Operator skin Interference for Striker himself. Players can also access the Road Rash finishing move featuring the RCXD, the Fringe Reticle Battle Focus Animated Calling Card, the Detonator Charm, the 50 cal Flip Gesture, and the Fire Away emblem. Now lastly, we have the Fire Starter Ultra Tracer bundle pack, bit of a tongue twister, a Fury Park-centric bundle containing her Ultra Ember Operator skin as its centerpiece. The pack also includes 2 legendary weapon blueprints, the Furnace Assault Rifle and the Incinerator SMG, as well as the Smolder Calling Card, Fuzzy Feeling Emblem, and finishing off the pack is the Hot Look sticker, along with a Molotov looking charm there. So 3 upcoming bundles, and I'm sure many more will be revealed. Once Reloaded does go live in about a week's time, there'll be plenty of other bundles that are probably better than all of these, as they usually do, right? It seems like every season they have better bundles in the Reloaded update than the start of the season itself. Just my opinion. Let me know how you feel about that down below in the comments. But here's where things get crazy now. There's a very interesting discovery over on the map Echelon, which nobody is really talking about. There is a full-fledged video all about this that is being posted tonight. I will have that link down below in the description. But aside from that, the intel system is slightly underrated for this game. I definitely understand the frustration with having to collect hundreds and hundreds of pieces of intel almost every season. I get it, it's not the best system out there, but I'm curious what Treyarch's approach is going to be once Vanguard Zombies releases not too long from now. What I will say though is that the only problem I have with the intel system in this game is that it allows people out there who don't really know what's going on in the story and don't really care about the game altogether to essentially make 2 to 3 minute commentaries talking about something vague, and then they stretch the video out to 8 minutes by playing the audio recording they found in game over on screen. Many scammers have done that already on YouTube. You guys probably know what I'm talking about, but when it comes to the story itself, it's very rich with, I think, more depth than Craig Houston's ever put into a story before. But here's what was found over on Echelon. So it is a Requiem document that says, "The Devil's Mountain. After an encounter with a strange subterranean signal, an NSA analyst at Field Station Berlin sends a request to Central that's well above his clearance level. It says, Sir, I am formally requesting assistance for a developing situation here at our Echelon listening station on Teufelsberg, aka The Hill. In the last several days, our team has been picking up a strange transmission from beneath the station. At first, we believe this was just a poorly redirected signal from another point of origin. After all, we do utilize a Ferris wheel as a signaler amplifier, so we've had issues before. As we trace the signal, though we discovered it originated from below the sub-basement of our own facility, it's coming from underground. While these transmissions are infrequent, we have identified a pattern. We recently received exactly 10 messages since last Wednesday, occurring at roughly 12-hour intervals. At initial listen, the messages are garbled nonsense. Our own instruments proved unable to decrypt anything intelligible. However, each message is the same length, with vocal pitches occurring at the exact same interval in each message. It's gibberish, but it's intentional gibberish. Someone is transmitting a repeating code. I should point out that the hill is not a natural elevation, but a man-made hill. Teufelsberg, meaning Devil's Mountain, is actually tons of rubble from the war piled atop an unfinished Nazi military facility. According to our files, it was a simple matter of cost. It was cheaper to simply bury it than demolish it. It is from this buried Nazi structure that our strange transmission is broadcasting. I should also make it clear that I am not a superstitious man, but I heard rumors of a classified incident occurring at a certain Berlin checkpoint early on. In fact, we intercepted 2 communications requesting assistance combating an otherworldly supernatural threat. These messages curiously went unanswered by Central. One mentioned an office of Requiem. I did some digging and found it to be an office operating under DS&T. However, I lack necessary clearance to even identify who is running the office, let alone its purpose. Last month, an unnatural event at the checkpoint. This month, an unnatural signal beneath our feet. I do not believe in coincidences. There is a connection between these events. Therefore, I hereby request read-in clearance to all files pertaining to the Berlin incident. If this request is denied but transmissions persist, we will be left no choice but to begin excavating. We must find out what's going on down there one way or the other." So when I read this, I'm like, alright, what could this be a hint at, right? It's more than likely not DLC 4, the next round-based map for Cold War, but I'll leave you guys with these thoughts, right? Could this be a hint or a bit of a layer of foundation for what to expect in Vanguard Zombies, also coming from Treyarch in just, what, 2 months from now? Considering we do have the Vanguard Zombies logo, which has a bunch of symbols on it, seems like we're going to end up getting introduced to a new type of language, similar to the language that was being spoken in World War II Zombies, also the old-school Keeper Apothicon language, which didn't get fleshed out in the best way that it probably should have, but Craig might give that little plot point another go with this current Dark Ether storyline, where they introduce us to some new language, a greater threat, but something that isn't as kind of confusing that the multiverse clusterfuck was back during Black Ops 3 and 4. That's the thing, right? I'm a huge fan of Ether, I always have been, but I think what Craig's new approach is to kind of simplify what made the old story Ether line so great so that casuals can enter Zombies, whether they play multiplayer, whether they play Warzone, and understand what's going on no matter when they start playing the mode, right? Whether it was Cold War, whether it's Vanguard later. Vanguard will be a prequel to Cold War, so if they're hinting at a Nazi facility, does that really work as DLC 4? Probably probably not. Might be a bit too repetitive to what the Machina already introduced us to, or even Firebase, so that sounds more like what could be a launch map in Vanguard. But I will be talking more about DLC 4 and new information that we have in a separate video I'll probably be posting tomorrow. As of right now, I think the intel they have released thus far doesn't really give us a hint as to where we're going in the next map, which I think is great. You know, it keeps speculation through the roof, keeps the energy momentum as hot as ever, because we don't know where we're going. But looking at how the intel is dropped throughout different game modes, whether it's round-based, onslaught, outbreak, it does prove my point, as I said before, which is that intel theoretically should create hours upon hours replayability to where you go for all the intel, if you care about it, and then read all of it at the menu to get new understanding about what is going on in the story that Craig is telling. But it wasn't exactly working out that way with Cold War's lifecycle. People out there weren't really a fan of the intel system, so I am curious what Treyarch's gonna do next time they do zombies, which is, again, in the next Call of Duty releasing in about 2 months from now. But although we have to wait until after the Hallows Eve event, or maybe even during it, to hear more about Treyarch's next zombies iteration, it was reported earlier tonight by Modern Warzone, a massive Twitter account, that Season 6 Reloaded, I don't know how we're talking about this, of Black Ops Cold War and Warzone, looks to be scheduled to arrive the day before Vanguard officially launches, so apparently November the 4th, and that may be true, right? I'll give that the benefit of the doubt, but the thing about that schedule kind of relates to Season 5 Reloaded, which is that Activision seems to have no issue dropping Cold War related content around the time something really massive is happening for Vanguard. So for example, Season 5 Reloaded may be dropping just the day after the multiplayer reveal and a couple days before the early access beta, but Season 6 Reloaded may not be that big, I guess. They're not going to save too much content for that update since it won't have much time to get some appreciation since a day later the next Call of Duty comes out. Not sure how I feel about that just yet. I would like some separation to happen between Cold War DLC and then Vanguard related stuff, but might not get everything we want with that. And maybe Activision's looking at Cold War right now and saying, you know what, the game has run its course, there is some good content left for it, but we still have Vanguard front and center regardless if Cold War DLC launches during the very same week. But that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave our thoughts down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts on the new content coming to Cold War this week, featuring new playlists, bundles, the free trial? What are your thoughts on Reloaded possibly being pushed back until next week, which seems to be a fairly packed week in terms of Vanguard marketing? And also, what are your thoughts on the new discovery on Echelon, which could be setting up either DLC 4 or the introduction to Treyarch's new zombies iteration over in Vanguard? Really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everyone.